So there's some properties that arise from both this definition and in general. So properties of the tensor products that you need to know and need to know well. So the first one is that how to do a scalar multiple. So a scalar multiple of a tensor product, V tensor W. This is cool because I have the flexibility to put it anywhere, and it's essentially just the associative property of multiplication, which you can see from this definition. So I could write this as C times the vector V tensor W, and I could also write it, if I want, as V times the coefficient C times the vector W. Believe it or not, as mathematically trivial as this is actually key to why a lot of quantum algorithms work. We're going to come to what we call phase kickback. So phase, so far we know it as plus or minus 1. So we're going to be able to do something on 1 qubit to put a phase of minus 1 in front of it. And then mathematically, I'm going to be able to move the phase wherever I want to in order to construct the interference pattern that I want. So it's pretty interesting how mathematically trivial this is, but how physically and computationally significant it is. The second property is concerning the sum of two vectors, v1 plus v2, tensor W. And this has a distributive property, so you'll be able to write this as v1 tensor W plus v2 tensor W. Very nice property to have. The same thing will be true on the right-hand side. So v tensor W1 plus W2 is going to be equal to v tensor W1 plus v tensor W2. Okay. So three nice properties. You should be able to prove these from the definition that I gave you. And the other nice property or definition really is how to do the tensor product of operators. So tensor product of operators given an expression which looks like A tensor B acting on two vectors V tensor W. So, just like we're forming new vectors, new basis vectors out of constituent basis vectors for the space, we're also going to form operators in the same way. So we're going to need to know how to act with a tensor product of operators on a tensor product of vectors. And the good news is that this just works component-wise. So it's going to be A acting on the vector V, tensor B acting on the vector W. Very important fact to remember. Make sure you highlight this in your notes. If you ever see, which we will a lot when we analyze quantum circuits and quantum algorithms, an expression that looks like this, you know how to evaluate it by definition. It's just component-wise. What about this quantity here, though? How do you actually compute that itself instead of applying it to a vector? Well, it's going to be a similar definition to the one with vectors, very similar actually. So the only thing is that I'm now going to do it with every component of the matrix now A. Matrices are two-dimensional things. So if I denote the first element of the matrix A as A11, A11 being the first element of the matrix A, then what I'll do to evaluate the tensor product is same thing with vectors, essentially. I'll take A11 times that copy of B. Then I'll do the same thing with A12 times that copy of B, all the way up to A1M times B. And then this will continue in all the rows, AN1 times B up to ANM times B. Okay? I'm going to save the example for this, probably for your first homework. So you'll get some practice with how to actually evaluate the tensor product of operators, matrices there. But this is the definition. So the next thing we need to know with tensor products, I know how to apply it to a vector, but how do I do inner products with it? So if I want to do the inner product in a tensor product space, I'm going to use the notation A tensor B inner product with C tensor D. Again, similar to this, you might ask, okay, how do I actually evaluate this thing? It works out to be component-wise again. So this means that this is defined as the inner product of A with C. So the inner product of A with C times, so just times here, the inner product of B with D. This is one place, one of the many places where the notation that we use in quantum information is actually very helpful. So how would this be written in terms of the notation we use? It would be A tensor B bra inner product with C tensor D cats. And now similar to the case with the operator being applied to the vector component-wise, I sort of just do the same thing. I sort of, in a sense, distribute component-wise. So that's to say that this is defined as A inner product C times B inner product D. Okay. And this is going to be extended by linearity. So this extends by linearity, by which I mean that the sum of a bunch of inner products, so alpha I star AI tensor BI inner product with a sum over J of beta J Cj tensor Dj will be equal to, or defined as, a sum over ij. Coefficients come out, so alpha I star, beta j, and then I just take the inner products again. So AI inner product Cj times Bi inner product Dj. This and this, very important facts to know. Again, the first time that you're seeing these tensor products and working with them, you have to know how to evaluate these things. And this is the way that we do it. Just some important facts before we end today. So we have the following properties of the tensor product. So the first one is that if I ever need to evaluate the Hermitian conjugate of a tensor product, A tensor B, I'll do that individually. So this will be A dagger tensor B dagger. And you can think from the definitions why these would be sensible ways to define this. But I just want to make the statements for you today. The same will be true for complex conjugates, A tensor B star. Remember, I'm always using star to mean the complex conjugate. That will be A star tensor B star. The third one, this will also be true for transposes. A tensor B transpose is equal to A transpose tensor B transpose. And the last two, which if I recall, I may ask you to prove in a homework. If U and V are unitary matrices, then U tensor V is also unitary. Okay. You can kind of maybe see how that's true from the first three properties. Pretty much using the first one and then the definition of what it means to be a unitary matrix. The same will be true if A and B are Hermitian. Then A tensor B is also Hermitian.